Alright, so in the previous tutorial, we set up our chest inventory, finally. We hit the D key and it brings up our chest inventory, but now we want to start filling this out some more, okay? And here's where we're going to do that. Let's bring up our inventory creation screen again, and let's take a look at the rest of this. So we've got these slots here that we want to use, right? And if we go to our basic Kingdom Room layout, we could create brand new objects for our chest inventory, right? We could create 5 more text objects. But that would be actually fairly wasteful, honestly. It doesn't need to happen. We can use these text objects here, actually, and just create them through our code instead. As long as we monitor which layer they're on, it'll work exactly the same. So, in inventory creation, let's look at the slot 1 code here, right? And all it's going to say is it just needs the X position, which we know is our starting position is going to be global variable menus.chestContainer.posx. Now, we didn't go into our global variable and add in our chest container. We never added slot 1 and the text object positioning. We never added any of that. And the truth is we don't need to. If we were doing a much more complex game where the menu was movable in certain ways or whatever, you might want to do that. But for this game, the menu is going to stay exactly where it is. It's never going to change. And this is easy enough to change later on that I feel comfortable leaving the offset where it is. So we're going to leave that, actually. I'm going to come down here, and actually we can just copy this one right there, and let's just paste that in and change this to a Y. And the final thing we need to do, you must change the layer here to chest inventory. All right, let's do this throughout then. Let's change this front starting position here. Leave this the same. Let's change this here to Y. And change this to chest inventory layer. And just keep going all the way down. Change this. Okay, change this. Change it to a Y. And change the layer to chest inventory. Simple enough, right? We're going to be doing quite a bit of tedious, laborious tasks. As a matter of fact, the one's coming up pretty soon. And I'm going to start doing some of the more laborious stuff that we've already done numerous times. I'm going to start doing some of that stuff off of the tutorial instead, just so we can maximize our tutorial time for where it's best used. All right, the last thing I want to do is that all good? Actually, that does look good, yeah. All right, let's see how we did. Let's run a preview from Basic Kingdom Room. Look at that. Now, you'll notice something, however. Notice that these are mirroring each other. And why that is, again, remember, computers, right? Intelligently stupid. It doesn't know that this slot 1 object is different than this slot 1 object. So when we run the code inventory check or inventory manager, and we say that slot 1 text should be basic sword, it sees 2 slot 1 text objects here and fills them both with this text. But we're going to have a way to fix that though, okay? So we're going to leave it for now, but we'll come back to this idea in a minute. All right, so that takes care of loading up our actual inventory chest, but now we need to start thinking about those objects that go into the chest, right? So our inventory check code here is what actually deletes the objects and then adds the new ones based on these variables here that we created called isFilled from Bob's inventory. Well, we need to now go into global variables and we need to establish a chest inventory. So let's go down to the bottom and let's hit the plus key here and let's create a new global variable structure, and we're going to call this one chest inventory. And chest inventory, we don't want just 5 items, right? We don't want our chest to be able to hold just 5 items. So we can have pages in our chest inventory that hold 5 items each. So we're going to create a page as our first child variable here. We're just going to call it 1. Keep it numerical because that's a lot easier to work with, okay? Essentially what we're creating is known as an array. And the array position, the first one we're going to create is just 1. If we wanted to have multiple pages right now, we could create 2 and 3, but I'm not going to. Right now I'm just going to create page 1 because it's always easier to add a page later on. So we've got 1, and then off of that we need to create, let's see, 4. How many child variables are in Bob's inventory? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we need to create 3 under that 1. So 3 child variables under 1. And these are isFilled, right? Same as Bob's inventory. Oh, no. Sorry, that's wrong. Each page has 5 slots. So this would be 1, 2, 3. We need 2 more child variables here, 4 and 5. I thought that looked wrong. Okay, now we're cooking. So on page 1 of our chest inventory has 5 slots. And each slot has 3 child variables. There we go. And that's isFilled item count and item ID. All right, so now we're going to move through each of these slots and create 3 child variables. Okay, so we've got 5 slots under our page 1. And again, we could always create new pages. That's actually pretty easy to do. But for right now, we're just going to deal with 1 page of inventory. All right? Now, before we hit apply and leave here, okay, we want to create a way to keep track of what page our inventory is on. And I'm going to put that in iManager, Inventory Manager here. So let's add another child variable under iManager, and let's call this one current page, and let's go ahead and hard code it set for 1. Because if it's set for 0, then it's going to give us a bit of an error here, right? We don't have a 0 page. So page 1, and let's hit apply. Now let's take a look again at our inventory creation or inventory check. think we're going to deal with this. We might deal with this next time in the next tutorial. Because we need to figure out if we want to do our inventory here or create a new external event. You know what? Let's create a new external event for this one. Okay, let's call this one, rename it chest inventory check, and let's associate it with the basic kingdom room, add an empty event, and let's make our link before I forget. There it is, and let's place it under chest inventory. And for right now, I just want to copy this code from inventory check and place it into chest inventory check. And then we'll deal with this next time.